and welcome to another edition of 10 Count. I'm your host, Michael Montero, joined by Mike Baca of UCN Live and Doug Fischer of Ring TV. Guys, this past Saturday over in London in the O2 Arena, the next big thing, maybe he's already the big thing at heavyweight, Anthony Joshua scores a 7th round TKO over previously undefeated American Dominic Breazeale. I thought this fight was interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, it went a few rounds. This was the antithesis of the Charles Martin fight that we saw earlier this year. And Breazeale took some punishment, and I thought Joshua had to make some adjustments. Doug, what adjustments did you see Joshua make midway through the fight that impressed you?
He stopped loading up with his punches. He realized that this guy is just as big as he is. He's heavier. He's got a lot of character. He's tough. He was going to take that beating. He would have to break him down. Probably realize, hey, I'm not going to just impose my will over his will or break his will before I actually break his body. Maybe I just have to break his body, and I'm not going to break that will, and I think that was the case. But he stopped loading up. He was like, okay, my accuracy is enough. He stuck to his jab. He was very nimble on his feet. He was careful not to get caught with a lot of head shots. Breazeale did sneak some body shots in the middle rounds, and I think that Joshua handled them well. But I thought it was just another poised performance from Anthony Joshua. He never got overexcited, never let the adrenaline rush from the crowd affect him. He just went about his business of systematically breaking down a limited but very strong-willed opponent. Somebody not in his class, but he was content to outclass him as opposed to immediately overpowering him. And I think that mentality is going to serve him as he climbs the heavyweight ladder.
Mike, this was a Showtime broadcast in the afternoon before the Thurman Porter broadcast on CBS, and part of the crew doing the broadcast, or talking about it at least, was Deontay Wilder, undefeated American titleist. Those two didn't exactly call each other out, but they talked about fighting each other, Joshua and Wilder. Where would you see a matchup like that right now? Do you think something like that would be possible down the road?
Down the road, absolutely, especially considering Anthony Joshua just signed a contract with Showtime. And, you know, he put on another great performance, nothing really surprising about it. I even on, I think, the last episode of 10 Count talking about this fight, I didn't give Breazeale a chance at all. The only thing surprising was that he did get it to the 7th round, at least in my eyes. But he showed some grit in there, Dominic Breazeale did. And I commend him for that. And he was very confident about this fight. I interviewed him before it, wrote a story for Ring TV. And I wasn't really buying, you know, his confidence. He was trashing Joshua over there. He was saying he doesn't deserve the Olympic gold medal. And he also mentioned, you know, that physique of Joshua, you know, not an ounce of fat on him, it looks like. He said, you know, maybe that's not going to work for him in the later rounds. And he kind of gave me the guideline of his game plan, saying, I'm going to make him fight into the later rounds. And it kind of looked like he did that. Because he very slow start. He was kind of in his shell the whole time.
Right.
But once he started to open up, he gave Joshua a bigger and better target. And obviously he took advantage of that. Deontay Wilder down the line, I do see that happening maybe within the next 2-3 years, realistically, because we can't say it's going to happen within the next year because nothing ever happens like that.
I think it can happen quicker than that.
You think so?
Yeah,
well, I mean,
I think 18 months to 2 years. I don't think Anthony Joshua is ready for Deontay Wilder now. If they fought next month, I would not count AJ out.
No,
he's that good.
No,
He's
you have
that
to stay
sharp.
for Wilder, right?
Yeah, just based on experience, based on his athleticism, the fact that he's so tall and rangy and he can punch from the outside very quickly. You know, Joshua's chin still is in the process of being proven. We know he can take a decent shot. We don't know if he can take a shot from a world-class puncher, which is what Wilder is. I don't think AJ is ready for the likes of Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder. Even David Haye would be dangerous at this point. I'd like to see him actually fight past 10 rounds. I'd like to see him get, I'd like to see him have more than 18 fights. I'd like to see him have, maybe 21, 22 fights before his handlers really turn him loose against the heavyweight division's elite. And I'm okay to wait because he's young and he's exciting, and there are worthy opponents out there that can help flesh out who he is in the ring, give him that professional resistance. And as long as he stays active and continues to build his name in Europe, and especially if and when he comes to the United States, I want him to be as big as possible before he's in there with the super fights, because I think he can be very special. And I definitely don't want to see the AJ Express derailed because he's being rushed.
Mike, is he a champion, Anthony Joshua, or is he a prospect with a title? Let's be honest.
He's a prospect who happens to have a world title. There's no other way to explain it. Champion is a term used loosely in boxing, and even in writing, I always write down he's a world title holder.
Right.
Very rarely do I write down champion. But yeah, I like his ceiling. I've yet to see anything really wrong with Anthony Joshua, and he puts butts in seats. We've seen him already captivate a crowd in his home country of the UK.
I think there's more hype around Anthony Joshua than Tyson Fury,
Absolutely.
who is a champion.
Who is
he
a champion.
He is the real champion.
You're right.
He seldom fights, though. Out of sight, out of mind.
Dare I say, I don't want to make any comparisons to Lennox Lewis. Don't want to go there. But Lennox was a Canadian, Jamaican, Brit, kind of all over the place. Anthony Joshua is a born and bred British fighter, and he's very articulate. That's one thing about him that I think has great crossover appeal. The way he handles himself in interviews and pressers and everything. But he is still just a titleist and a prospect. So let's not get too excited. He's probably going to fight Gerald Washington next, right?
I'm okay
the next
with that.
Al Heyman.
Yeah,
undefeated.
Charles Martin, Dominic Breazeale, Gerald Washington, all in a class of their own.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first on 10 Count. I'm Michael Montero for Mr. Mike Baca and Mr. Doug Fischer. We'll see you guys next time.